Is Marvel working on an Overwatch killer? Let's have a look. After some teasers, Marvel recently released the first trailer for Marvel Rivals, a 6 vs 6 team and hero-based shooter. A lot of people see in this game a potential Overwatch killer. By the end of this video, I want to see if there's any truth to that claim, so stick around. The first question is, of course, why would this be an Overwatch killer? Well, that description I just gave might sound slightly familiar, because that is about 90% identical to the description for Overwatch though, a hero and team-based competitive shooter. Apart from two very obvious differences. One, Overwatch is a first-person shooter, while Rivals is a third-person shooter, much like Fortnite. And two, Overwatch is being made by Blizzard, while Rivals is being made by NetEase, who might be partnering up with Blizzard again soon to publish their games like World of Warcraft and Overwatch. While Blizzard has been under fire lately for their monetization, in some cases for very just reasons, NetEase definitely is operating on a whole different level. Actually, it is the same developer that made Diablo Immortal a few years ago. And while that was a rather decent game when it comes to gameplay, it had the most aggressive monetization in Blizzard history. And that's partly because NetEase is a Chinese mobile developer. The standards in that space are very different. Now, for now, we only know that Rivals is going to be free to play, just like Overwatch 2 is. And we do not know how they plan to monetize it. But I do think it is going to be very similar to mobile games, which is not my jam. What is my jam, however, is that they're going to have a starting roster of 16 Marvel heroes, including the Hulk, Iron Man, Storm, Spider-Man, but also some lesser-known Marvel heroes, like Jared Way's Penny Parker. On top of that, they promise to add new heroes with every single season. So I can't wait to see Deadpool, Wolverine, or even Gambit in that game. I love Marvel. I've been a fan ever since I read my first X-Men comic when I was a wee little lad. Yeah, I was small at some point, I think. However, the general audience is kind of getting tired of Marvel content. So I'm both excited and curious to see how they're going to circumvent that, how they're going to add a new twist to it. And they do seem to be looking for twists in the genre, including the gameplay. Rivals actually has a feature that I've always wanted to see in Overwatch: destructible environments. Don't get me wrong, those Overwatch maps look gorgeous, but it would kind of be cool if your gunfire had some type of impact on the environment. Well, some impact that is a little bigger than a few bullet holes. The finals, which was released not too long ago, actually made it into a core feature for the game, and it definitely adds a new dynamic. Can you imagine the impact a Diva ult would have on the King's Row wall, for instance? On the other hand, that being said, it does kind of have an impact, no pun intended, on the whole balancing of the maps. In a game like Overwatch where your positioning is critical, yeah, you might not want to mess about with the environment. Another unique feature that they have in Rivals is that you can combine two different heroes and get a new set of abilities. For instance, we saw Rocket riding on top of Groot. That could maybe work in Overwatch. Remember that one shot in the Overwatch 2 announcement cinematic, where Brigitte and Reinhardt combined their shields? Yeah, those were the days. But again, cool feature on paper. Would love to see it, but it also makes the game a tad less predictable, a little more difficult to balance. And on top of that, I do think it's going to force more people into one single meta. Look, while all of these features are kind of cool, I do think they're going to end up biting NetEase in the proverbial. They have a set of heroes that have been established, and that by itself creates expectations when it comes to their abilities. You can't have a Hulk that is not smashing stuff, and they added the team-ups and the destructible environments, and I do think that all of these parts are going to make it rather difficult to combine it in one solid experience. A team-based experience where there's purpose in the design. There's too many fixtures in one end, and on the other hand, there's too much randomness. In the end, Overwatch has a little more freedom with its own heroes, especially the new ones. They can go in any direction. Now don't get me wrong, I'm not trashing Rivals, I do think it looks interesting. The graphics look rather mobile, but nice. The maps definitely look impressive, and yeah, you get the Marvel heroes. Like I said, I love Marvel, so if I get a chance, I'm definitely going to try it. I'm even excited to give it a try. However, this is not an Overwatch killer. The only game that can kill Overwatch is Overwatch itself. I've seen the same thing happen with World of Warcraft. Ever since World of Warcraft was released, we saw one after the other Warcraft killer pop up. And I personally tried almost all of them. Some of them were actually pretty nice, like Swordter and Wildstar. That was kind of a cool one. But none of them even managed to hit a fraction of the numbers that World of Warcraft got. Until the Warcraft team themselves started making some bad decisions. At that point, a lot of players started looking elsewhere, and most of them ended up with Final Fantasy, a game that had been around for almost a decade at that point. But today, World of Warcraft is actually doing good and gaining subscribers again for the first time in, well, the last 6 to 8 years. So that whole dark period, that didn't even kill them, although it did come pretty close. In the case of Overwatch 2, I don't even think it's going to come that far. Sure, PvE was cancelled and that sucks. The whole monetization gives me a daily headache. And the 5v5 versus 6v6 discussion is really getting on my nerves. Sometimes it feels like the place is on fire, but then you step back and you look at the actual game and it's actually pretty good, guys. And for now, the future looks even better. So what I'm thinking is that Rivals will earn their own spot next to Overwatch and Valorant and even Paladins. And Team 4, they're just going to keep doing what they're doing. You know what? For now, that was it. A huge thank you to my patrons. You guys make these videos possible. I'm eternally grateful. But above all, take care of yourself, take care of each other. Bye-bye.